Okay, somebody had a question about stretching, opening the fascia, and using the fascia. I think what they mean is how to use the fascia to support load, and through that load, storing power, issuing power through the fascia. Okay, so this kind of deserves like a longer video, but to be direct with you, I am getting away from like teaching online. Part of me just like hates teaching online because a lot of students don't get it. They don't put in the volume of practice. They don't do the homework assignments to get the results. And I'd rather just do it in person where somebody's dedicated to doing the training. It would be like trying to teach like jujitsu or Muay Thai online. Like there are some courses, but there, anyone that does those arts understands that there's a significant part that you have to do in the gym in person. You have to do a significant amount over the week in person, and then you can look at instructionals and use that as supplemental. So I'm open to that, and most of the stuff I have is like for free, or if you check out a lot of Mark Rasmus's stuff, like most of his course material is completely free. I mean, I think that basically his whole system's online for free, and it's really up to students to do it, and most people don't. So what they want to do is they want to go overseas and spend a lot of money and get in-person training time, which I'm all for. But when you come back home, you still have to do the in-person work, and that's where people just fall short. They give up because they don't really want it. So, anyways, okay, so let's look at some principles first of the fascia. The first thing I want you to do is I want you to go back and I want you to do 150 hours of building the ball, whole body core breathing, and that's where students are like, I don't want to do it. I'm like, do that. So, I'm not getting the results from the training program most of this because it's like, if you want to go to the gym and get stronger, you're gonna have to like put in some time there, So, and people don't do it. So that's why the Tai Chi community sucks. So okay, so the first thing, learn how to put whole body core breathe, and some of the not all, but the main principles. First thing is for beginners is getting your joints to open and close from the feet out to the top of the head, out to the shoulders, elbows, wrists, fingertips. Okay, and actually getting a feeling for that sticky, thick, elastic substance. When we're talking about elastic force, loading and unloading the fascia from the bottom of the feet, out with the shoulders, elbows, wrists, fingertips. For most beginning students, it's completely disconnected. So there's no connection in that stretchy, thick, elastic substance. It's not stretchy, it's not thick, it's not elastic, and therefore no elastic force can be produced. So to find those connections with the whole body, there's like all these different power stretches to stretch the fascia, to connect the fascia from the tips of the toes completely through every tiny little millimeter of the body, from the feet up to the top of the head and out through the shoulders, elbows, wrists, fingertips, that you can do and can explore to do that. And I'd prefer to teach you that in person so that I can make sure that like, okay, something's not opening and stretching there. There's more you can get from that part of the body, And then we do partner exercises to load your fascia. And we're like, okay, that part's not loaded. We got to load that. We got to get that stronger. Okay, we've got to get you stronger, right? And that, what I've seen from most people going to workshops that have watched a lot of the online material of Mark and some of the HME stuff, they're not doing. It's either volume of time they haven't put in the time, or they're just missing stuff. And that's where you need other people to help you. You need a coach, or you need good human beings. You need good partners to help you. And most people don't want to do that because they're too lazy, they're too competitive, and they're not even good. So all these things. So number 2, you need to learn the power stretching exercises. There's like at least 10 of them, and then you combine them in different directions. And you need to feel the stretch, the Dwi law, the stretch between 2 points. So it's like if you're drawing a bow, you keep the front of the bow held, and you draw the string back, okay? So from here to here, if you have like pungjin, or like some kind of shape, the elastic force is stretched from the point here down through to the feet. And you have to find everywhere in the body to stretch it, to connect it, and where it's disconnected, and you have to sink and drop it, or open it, release it to get it to connect. I hope that makes sense. It's so much easier teaching it in person. It's like the light bulb goes on immediately for students when they get that, and then they can practice. And you have to practice every day, like 5 days a week at least. So, I know this is a long explanation, but from teaching students, like my 9 to 5 is teaching this, I just repeat it every day. People don't do it. So let's look at loading the fascia and the principle of Dwi-La, stretching between 2 points using weights. Now, and I want to put this into context especially, because that's most of the stuff that I enjoy doing, like no-gi jiu-jitsu, stand-up wrestling, specifically has to do, the training that I do solo has to do with using that to increase power, like fajin, uprooting, grounding for competition sports. Okay, so let's take this. What I'm gonna do is we're basically just gonna hold this up, and what I want you to do is just from a neutral stance. First thing, you can take a kettlebell, it doesn't really matter, is that I want you to drop the hips, and I want you to release the lower back away from the tendons in the upper body. So I'm gonna get these out here. Okay, so you got this. Okay, and what I want you to do is I want you to open the joints, shoulders, elbows, wrists, fingertips, and I want you to sit on the bar stool, okay, get grounded, release the muscles from the belly and the hips down through the feet. So those muscles stretch and release down. They don't tighten, they release, they open, they stretch down. The shoulders, elbows, wrists, fingertips, the tendons stretch out slightly. Now the tendons in the lower body and the upper body is starting to connect. Okay? And I want you to release. You don't have to do a long time. Okay? But instead of contracting the muscle, okay, you have to start, for this kind of training, to teach the fascia in the upper body, the tendons, and the lower body ones, to connect. You need Dwi-La, you need whole body pore breathing to actually feel what's going on and to build. I'm not going to say what it is. You need to pore breathe through the whole body and just do the instructions so that you can put it into different postures, okay? So if it's like here, you're opening, you can feel the shoulders, elbows, wrists, fingertips opening, the tendons stretching and opening rather than contracting, okay? And then you need the lower body, especially the yow, the lower back, all this back sheet to open, drop, and sink, okay? So the lower body sinks as the upper body slightly stretches out to support load. So if you think about the surface of a trampoline, essentially what the fascia is, it's spread out, it disperses load, and it can create power combined with the power of the joints, okay? So what happens is you don't want like a double, I think would it be, some of this like I'm not 100% sure on. What you don't want is this. When you're pushing, you don't want your whole mass to pop out because that leaves you vulnerable to somebody supporting your load and actually like either throwing you, right? Because you're lifted, your whole mass is floating. You need your lower body to remain ground and sunk while the force coming up from the earth is transferred, mass transferred through the tips of the fingers and the palms, okay, at all times. So that feeling has to be there at all times. Basically, it should feel like the feet, the calves, and the thighs are constantly melting and sinking as there's a stretch, a slight stretch through the shoulders, elbows, wrists, fingertips, okay? So that part goes down, and then this part goes up. Does that make sense? Okay? And it's like constant. So when you're grappling and when you're striking, even when you're moving, that elastic force. I mean, think about boxers, right? They have the elastic bands, okay, to create first thing is to make sure their base is correct. It's not like too loose, it's not too tight, it's not too wide, but you need it so that elastic force snaps and connects the mass, the load in the lower body force coming up from the ground out, okay, for your jab or something, okay? So everything has to connect at once. And that takes training, takes time, okay? And so this is just one way of doing training to get everything on the inside to start to connect, okay? So then you can start to hide that power. So if you look at a lot of old school boxers, they're not as like, I would say like buff as today's like elite sports athletes, steroids, but they're a lot thinner. And if you look at their stance, it's a lot narrower, but they definitely do have some sort of elastic force, that snapping force. And you can look at videos about how they create that. That's one external way of doing that. The way that I was taught, it's a different way, but you still create power. It's hidden on the inside, and you can actually create a little bit for grappling, for striking. It's more hidden within the body. It's more of like you can create more short power. Okay, so the Fajin for that is different than external boxing, but external boxing is also like very good, especially like the movement, footwork, the setups, strategy is excellent. So I'm also like for the last couple of years I was certified through USA Boxing as a coach, and so I love like teaching like especially beginners like pads, drills, like learning how to throw a good jab cross hook, uppercut, stuff like that. And you can apply the power principles into that. So I'm getting renewed for this next couple of years, 2025 and 26. So if people want to get training on that and learn how to put these principles together, how to internally stretch, how to connect the fascia, how to make it stronger, and it takes more time. It's that slow internal expansion, internal stretching to strengthen the fascia. It's excruciating. It takes a long time. It's not quick, like just like pumping it out at the gym, but it takes an equal or more amount of time to get the internal stretching to create the trampoline, a strong trampoline. Okay, so that's what to look out for 2025, 2026. It's going to be a pretty strong emphasis on trying to get people to get together as a community to train in person, because I've seen so many people in the community just not take advantage of like the online training. They just it's just a total waste of time. So that's what to look out for. And there's a really good question. So I think some people on the channel are interested in like no-gi or jiu-jitsu. So I currently train through one of John Donaher's students, Placido Santos. And if you're interested in that kind of stuff, then just shoot me a message, and I'm happy to answer any questions about that. Okay, thanks.